short weeks away, and Rumpure Sports is gearing up for the season with the best deal in DFS.
For a limited time only, we are offering new members a 15% discount for the life of their subscription, including SaberSim subs. Simply use the promo code NFL15 when subscribing to take advantage of this great deal before our prices go up.
And at RPS, we don't just give you access to one sport. When you subscribe to our premium service, we give you access to all of our content, including NFL, NBA, MLB, PGA, and so much more.
And we're not going to charge extra for access to our preseason content either. Our memberships include all of our content, including the NFL preseason. The best DFS players in the industry give you access to their core plays and slate strategies for every sport and for every slate. Simplify your lineup building process by plugging in picks directly from the top players in the world. Watch our premium live streams to gain a huge edge on the competition. Our guys are live up to lock for the biggest slates, walking you through their last-minute decisions, analyzing breaking news and injury alerts for the major sports.
Again, for a limited time only, you can access our industry-leading DFS content for 15% off our already low price. SaberSim packages are included, so sign up today using the promo code NFL15 for 15% off your subscription for life and start building winning lineups today.
What is going on, everybody? Happy Monday. Talking some baseball with the boys as usual on Monday. Hoop, AP, myself, breaking down this 8-game slate on DraftKings that locks at 6:40 Eastern today. FanDuel had the normal lock time, or I guess 7:07 Eastern. Skip the first 2 games that DraftKings are doing, so they have a 6-game slate that starts closer to the regular time. I'm not seeing too much weather today, which is always nice. Excited to dive in and talk about it. I think we got some pitching, one clear-cut guy, I think that will garner the most ownership. Bats-wise, I think a couple teams maybe we'll see some concentrated ownership, but good prize pools as always, good slate. Excited to dive in, talk about it. Hope everybody had a great weekend. As always, hit that like button for us, please. Hit that big red subscribe button. We got K-Pad, Michael Vasquez, Mike Carr, John Sims, Nadesify, another Mike, Connor Charger, D-Effect, Ron Rice, Big Uncle T, Skywalker, the bump stuff. Appreciate all of you hanging out with us as always. Kick it to you first, AP. What's going on, man? How was the golf over the weekend? Any fun plans that you did? What's going on?
Yeah, the weekend was, it was. I didn't make it into the live final. We had a few people there though, but if I would have been in the live final, man, it would have been a really nice weekend because my Royals absolutely smashed 14 runs. And I'm like, God, kicking myself. I mean, I tried pretty hard, more than I usually do for a live final seat this year, but I did not come close at all to qualifying. Like, I don't know about you guys. I had no sweats or anything like that, but so it is what it is. But we did have a member, I think, chop for second or third place. So shout out to that member. Just phenomenal results there. I think it was a Brew Crew and Royals, was it? Yeah. Your Brew Crew and my Royals. They absolutely pounded the slate. So you absolutely love to see it. The weekend was good though. Kind of sad also. No golf for a couple weeks. I guess we have Live coming up and we'll have content for that, but we're waiting for swing season.
Yeah, no, I personally, I rarely ever try for any of the qualifiers except MMA. That's really where I dive in. But I did think about it. I was like, if somehow I did qualify, I probably would have been all over the Brewers, was treated well. And I thought of you, AP. I'm like, if you qualified, I didn't know how hard you tried. You probably would have been on your Royals. So that's all right.
Especially in that spot. I mean, it was such a, like, Mania, like he's like giving up. And
he's been broken all year. Yeah, he's been broken all year for sure. But yeah, the member, awesome showing there. Big T had a good squad. I mean, it was a really high scoring slate. I saw Big T's tweet, like, if I knew 9-8 on my lower owned game stack, like, you take that all day. I mean, that slate was nuts with a lot of scoring, but whoever got there, congrats to you guys. What's going on? How was your weekend? Yeah, golf winding down for a little bit, but we do got Live. NFL right around the corner, man, cannot come soon enough. What's going on over there?
Yeah, pretty solid weekend. Had some pretty decent sweats in the PGA streets. DK had ran the Survivor thing. It started like 3 weeks ago, all throughout the playoffs.
Yeah, I saw that. What was that? You shipped it. I was confused by that.
Yeah, so it was like a Survivor thing throughout the playoffs. Basically, it started with 130 people, and then they cut half, and then there was
like
the
MMA
top,
final and stuff.
basically
like that,
just like that, and then got to the final. I think we Run Pier finished 1, 2, 3, 4, I believe. I know it was very close at the end too. I mean, birdie here or there could have shifted the whole thing, but yeah, I ended up taking that down, which was nice. And then I know members finished 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. So it was a solid week there. It was all over Scotty Scheffler. Really, I mean, if he would have finished that off, would have had just a massive week. I know Big T was on Scotty too. We talked quite a bit. And he just pooped his pants there, which was weird because they finished out round 3 Sunday morning, and he was just like dialed in. I mean, every single approach shot was just right there. I was like, man, he's going to just run away with this thing. Then they started round 4 shortly after, and he was like a disaster. So, you know, Rory got the job done. Obviously, it's cool to see. You know, he really turned his season around and very strong finish, 18 million for him. But, you know, getting closer to NFL here. I mean, it's right around the corner, getting excited. And then, like AP mentioned, we'll have content for the Live Tour this week. Pretty decent prize pools already on DraftKings starting on Friday. So we're going to have a show Thursday afternoon and then content to go along with it, playbook, core plays, all that stuff. So looking forward to that as well.
Nice. Yeah, tons of content. I mean, Live, good prize pools. We have a show for you there. Matthew Moore said AP is all about the tennis streets. Speaking of tennis, bright or early, 10 a.m. Eastern, pop on. We have a 4-man booth talking some tennis. So AP, talk about that a little bit. Saw US Open just started, 33 games or matches or whatever you want to call it. Had the show, always that playbook is always spread. Susie, saw Crane hopped on, Matty Ice. Talk about the tennis quick and good prize pools for the US Open.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all about the tennis streets, but I got to give all the props to Susie, Matty Ice, spread. You know, Crane, phenomenal job on the show. Matty Ice with a phenomenal call on Mr. Wolf, JJ Wolf getting it done. I was also kind of like, I had a little bias in there. I'm like, you know, Wolf, I can root for Wolf. I can bring back the old Wolf GIFs since we can't use them anymore.
Baby. That's what I thought of right away.
So I ended up coring him. He was like a 6K play, and he absolutely smashed in straight sets. So you love to see it. But yeah, we'll have US Open content all week long. I'm not sure what the show schedule is, so we'll get with them and we'll see. But I would imagine that we're going to see another show, maybe 2 at some point throughout the week.
Yep, absolutely. So, hey, when you know shows are going live, how you know, you hit that big red subscribe button. You can get alerts every single time we go live on the channel. So hit the like button for us, please. Hit that big red subscribe button. Let's talk baseball. We'll start at pitcher as always. I said one clear guy, in my opinion, where I think the ownership will follow. I think that is Corbin Burnes today. Gets a great matchup against Pittsburgh, 10.4K. Man, I just think he's going to be the chalkiest guy for sure. Now, I do think there are some other options for pivots. You can pay up a little more, 500 more on DraftKings. Carlos Rodon against San Diego right there. We got Ranger Suarez, 8.8K. Miles Mikolas, 8.4. Pablo Lopez, 8.2. Clevenger, 8K. I'll say 8K and above. Let's touch on those. 6 guys right there. I'll start with you, Hoop. How are you looking at pitcher 8K and above?
Yeah, the big name here is obviously Corbin Burnes at home against this Pirates team where we've seen this season, just all season long, where these pitchers against them just have ceiling performances where they just put up monster fantasy scores. Most likely the case today here for Corbin Burnes. Absolutely love him. The K prop, I think it's like right around 7.5. It's a fair price tag at 10.4. DraftKings continues to underprice these stud pitchers, which is super frustrating, but you know, everyone has to deal with it. So we can't complain too much. 10.4. I mean, he's just a guy that has to be in your lineups today. You know, Rodon above him has been pitching quite well lately. You know, he's a guy that sometimes goes up, down, but you know, 3 out of his last 5 performances have been at least 30 fantasy points. Now, been against some of the weaker offenses, the Tigers, Cubs, Arizona. He had one in there against Pittsburgh, Oakland. Man, he's actually had a really good stretch here of teams that just playing the shittiest offenses in baseball. Now tonight's will obviously be a step up in competition, but a little bit neutralized by the fact that it's in San Francisco here, one of the most pitcher friendly ballparks. Now I'm not going to play Rodon over Burns, but I'm fine pairing them together. We will have enough value on this slate to do so. So I'm good with those two. And then, not going to be on Suarez, McCollum. The next guy I'm looking at is maybe Clevinger because of this ballpark. I just like playing pitchers in San Francisco, but he really hasn't shown much of a ceiling at all lately. So really for me, it's going to be Burns and then Rodon and then probably fading this range. I mean, I'll keep Clevinger in there. If he hits some builds, that's fine. But there's some guys cheaper that I prefer over him.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think that lower 8K range will be more of a dead zone because we'll get to the below 8K a little bit, but some mid 7K options I think will definitely garner more ownership than the lower 8K. AP, Corbin Burns, obviously start with him, talk about Rodon and anyone else 8K and above.
Yeah, this is like, man, Garrett. All right. So I think a good comparison is Garrett Cole when he recently faced, I think it was the A's, and he was coming off 3 or 4 struggling starts. He came out and absolutely smashed them. If you look at Corbin Burns coming off a tough outing, but it was against the Dodgers. Like, we can overlook that. And it was a back-to-back, like he had to face them too. So that's always really tough. Outside of that, he's faced a lot of tough teams. The Cardinals right before that did obviously have an easier matchup against Cincy, but I think it's a perfect bounce back spot. Everything that I look at metric wise for Burns looks good. His projection everywhere looks good. Far and above, everyone else on the slate. So, like, for me, I'm probably locking him in. It just feels like a Cole. I didn't lock Cole in on that slate that I'm talking about, and I really regret not doing so. I ended up 50% on Cole, which was like basically in line with the field on that slate. It was a much bigger slate too. But I just think this is a spot where you lock in Burns. I'm not like, so Carlos Rodon, I can't go there. And the reason is this Padres team, when these teams go and face the Royals, I'm telling you, like, cold teams come in, they face the Royals, they start finding the ball, they start producing runs, and they go on little hot streaks. You see it all the time. The Padres had, a decent series there against the Royals, put up a lot of runs. They're swinging the ball much better. Very dangerous lineup here that the Padres have. Especially against a lefty too. While Carlos Rodon has been awesome, leads the slate when you look at strikeout rates, everything like that. I think this Padres lineup has the ability to, if they're hot, when they're cold, they absolutely suck. And we saw Rodon mow them down earlier in the season. I don't see that being the case tonight. So I'm going to be off of Rodon. I'm going to be locking in Corbin Burns most likely. I can't play Pablo Lopez against the Dodgers. I mean, I'm probably with you guys, or any pitcher against the Dodgers right now. They're just too good. Ranger Suarez. The other thing, too, is when you look at the texture of the slate, we're going to need bats. There are some teams in really good hitting spots tonight, so we're going to need salary relief. So, like, for me, I've X'd out everyone else in this 8K range. Clevinger, Suarez, Mikolas, all those guys. I mean, Clevinger right now, I wrote him up in my article. He's not missing any bats right now. He's generated like 6.5 on average whiffs for the Statner guys out there over his last 3 games. Like, he just is not fooling anyone. The velocity's down, and so what he's been trying to do is mix in these other pitches that aren't good pitches for him, and it's just not working. So I honestly think Clevenger's a guy that could get blown up on this slate. Bad ballpark for hitting, of course, but Clevinger, everything metric wise looks really bad on him for me. So yeah, up top, it's Corbin Burns for me.
Yeah, no, I'm in agreement too. I think Rodon's fine if you want to double spend, but yeah, you talked about there are some spots we need for bats and you wouldn't be left with as much salary. You always can make it work though, but let's look below 8K. I'm going to throw out 3 names for you: Frankie Montas and Jose Berrios. Those are the 2 I was alluding to that will be the more chalky options, way more chalky than the 8K guys. And then the last name I want to throw out is all the way down there, min price, Michael Grove for the Dodgers. He's starting ahead of Tony Gonsolin, or instead of Tony Gonsolin. His minor league stuff looks decent. He did make 1 start earlier in the year, and then he pitched 1 inning earlier in the year as well. He hasn't had the best major league success, but the sample size there is just so low. I mean, I think if he pitches well, you can get about 80 pitches from him. Min price 4K. If you pair him with Burns, you can spend up on bats. So interesting, a talking point there that I want you to touch on, AP. So Berrios, Montas, Grove, and then anybody else below 8K you're looking at.
Yeah, in this mid-tier range, I do like Jose Berrios quite a bit. He's shown a lot of volatility if you're just looking at the box scores. But with that comes a ton of upside too. And it comes in these right matchups. And I think today could be one of those spots against, a Cubs team. We're not too worried about striking out at a pretty good clip there. The other thing too is he's much better against righties, much worse against lefties. And there's only, there's only 2 lefties, and we're not worried about them at all. Ian Happ, switch hitter, obviously worried about him. Like, I'm worried about Contreras and Ian Happ. That's it. If he gets past those 2 guys, I think Berrios could have a really, really good game here. So 7,600, I think, is a great price tag on him tonight. I prefer him over everyone else in the mid-tier range. Frankie Montas, I can't go there. I think he's going to be the guy, or at least earlier when I looked at projections in the morning that people, or I guess, people might go to from a projection standpoint just because of his matchup against the Angels. I'm telling you, man, this Angels team, while the strikeouts are still there, like they're a much more dangerous lineup with Mike Trout back there, with Shohei Ohtani. I can't do it, man. I think, if anything, you could justify mini stacking against Frankie Montas, who hasn't been that good with some of the power here on the Angels. And some of these bats, too, are starting to heat up, and it kind of makes sense. And I think Ohtani also has some decent BVP against Montas as well, if you like that. As far as the cheap guys go, this is kind of where I'm going to be hanging around. I don't have a ton of comments on Michael Grove outside of Gary hitting me up, in my DM telling me a little bit about him. Gary likes him. So if Gary likes him, I'm going to like him, man. The matchup looks good. The ballpark looks good. I think what Gary said, he pitched like 80 pitches in his last start in AAA, and he looked good. So that's the data that I have that I'm going off of. So yeah, he's going to be in my pitching pool. The other guy I really like is our boy Bayo. I wrote him up too. I know he's a guy that highly touted prospect coming up in that system that has absolutely hurt our feelings multiple times. Had a really nice start against Toronto. And I think there was a lot of things to like from a metric standpoint with him, as long as he can, keep that really good command over his pitches that we saw in that last game. He's a guy who throws a sinker the majority of the time, and then throws his four seam. And as long as his placement's good, he has all the heat in the world. I think he could be fine here against the Twins, who always let us down. And the wind's blowing out there. It's when you look at Ballpark Pal or any of the stadium kind of metrics that analyze that stuff, that park's going to look really, really good. I hope it inflates the Twins ownership, because every time they're chalk, they fail. I can't remember a spot where they have ever panned out as chalk. So I would be very happy fading them and playing Bayo. So that's going to be kind of my spin down risky option in tournaments that I target today.
Yeah, I like it. Good talk there. When you were talking, people in chat, where it sounds like our voices are not in sync with what we're saying. So Simon, if you can fix that, that'd be great. Otherwise, we appreciate you hanging in there with us. You can still hear it. Everything's fine that way. Just what we're saying and our voices are not matched up, I guess. So appreciate everyone hanging in there with us. Hoop 8K and below, whoever you have interest in, like I said, Berrios, Montas, I think will be the most popular. You can talk about Bello down there. That Grove guy, I have some interest in at 4K. Talk about anything else you like.
Yeah, I mean, if the audio's still off, just don't look. It'll save you the issue of looking at our three ugly mugs as well. You can just go the audio version. You might enjoy it a little bit more. With you guys, I'm on the same guys. I think Berrios is a very fine option at 7.6 at home against Chicago. Massive favorite here, minus 250 range. I'm good with him. He bounced back. Let's see, where was that? He's had a couple ceiling games as of late. 30 fantasy point game against the Yankees, and then bounced back in Boston, which is not an easy place to pitch, for 18 fantasy points. I think he continues on today. Montas, I am a little higher on, just because, man, this guy was good for a while, and I just don't think the trade, he's all of a sudden a bad pitcher. You look at the matchups. He had to face the Mets. He mustered 16 fantasy points. That's a tough team. He had Toronto before that, got bombed. Boston, at Boston before that, only 10.5 fantasy points. St. Louis has had a lot of tough matchups here, and now gets the Angels in Angel Stadium, where it's very pitcher friendly. I'm a little higher on him here tonight at 7.2K. I'm with AP on Bello. He'd be my third guy that I'm looking at down here at 5.6K. I think people expected more out of him. You're not paying a premium at all for him. So I do like him. I will have some exposure. And then I'm fine with Grove at 4K. When you come down and play a 4K pitcher, I like doing it on these shorter slates opposed to the bigger slates. On the shorter slates, you're just dodging a few guys going off. We already know Burns is going to be popular. If you're playing Grove, you're probably pairing him with Burns. So what are you dodging if you go down to Grove? You're dodging Rodon going for 35. You're dodging Berrios or Montas going out and getting 30 or something like that, or Bello going off for 25. Like those are big boy numbers that a pitcher typically does not get. So I like going with these cheaper pitchers on the shorter slates. That's what we have tonight. So I think Grove is a fine option at 4K, especially when you look at the offenses we have. I mean, the offenses we want tonight are some of the more powerful, more expensive offenses in general. So that 4K can go a long way, but make sure you're getting the guys with the big time upside if you go to a guy like Grove. So I'm in on Grove, in on Bello, Berrios, and Montas, I think are all solid options here tonight.
All right, yeah, let's rank pitching. No Corbin Burns for anyone because I think that's clear SP1. I think we all do agree on that. So let's hear your top three, Hoop, outside of Burns.
Yeah, I like Rodon. I mean, I think you can really pair these two together. I mean, yeah, the matchup's not great against San Diego, but this ballpark, it really suppresses runs. So I'll go Rodon, give me Montas, and then Berrios.
I like it. AP?
Todd, you always do this to me, man. It seems like whenever you do this where you can't rank like the guy who's going to be chalk, don't include him. It's always the guy I'm locking in my build. So
yeah,
you're leaving me in a tough spot, man. Very tough spot.
If Hoop said he wasn't on Burns and you were, then I would let you both talk about it. Since it's a consensus for all of us, people need to hear an extra one.
Yeah, I mean, I would say Berrios, then Bayo, and Grove. And the reason for that is kind of alludes to what Hoop was saying about your SP2 spot. We've seen how volatile pitching can be, and this slate is loaded with good hitting that's expensive too. So if you get a 10 points from like Grove or Bayo, that could be enough in the SP2 spot, depending on what your bats do, and also depending on what that mid-tier range does. You're fading a 4 plus, 25 plus game from Berrios and, Clevinger and Montas, kind of in that range. I don't, if those guys are under that, and if your guy is over 10 or something like that, it could be enough, as long as there's enough salary relief there to get some big boy bats into your lineup.
Yep, absolutely. So that is pitching on this slate. Again, 8 games on DraftKings, 6 games on FanDuel. I'm not really seeing too much weather. I guess the only weather would be the Cardinals-Reds game. Hoop, if you want to look into that quick and give your thoughts there while I'm talking members never win and stuff. But I think weather outside of that should be fine. I probably think it plays, but we're still a little ways out. Looks like Junior Anthony in chat said the voices are fixed now. So nice work there, Simon. Appreciate Bill and everyone else in chat letting us know, because I would have had no clue otherwise. Let's talk some members never win though. Over the weekend, we had Corey Graves won $1,000 from $12 in F1. Man, look at that. F1, DraftKings has it added it a couple months ago. Rubio's been crushing that. I saw more screenshots for RPS in the F1 streets as well. So awesome stuff there, Corey Graves. It'll do farm, $10,000 in NASCAR. Awesome stuff. TMR6, $14,000 in MLB. And then the DK Affer, $275,000 at the live final. I believe, that was a third place tie from him. So awesome stuff, man. Congrats. Life-changing money. Great stuff there. Congrats to you four. If you do want to get on this segment, we do have a members never win segment in Discord. Drop your screenshots there and you have a chance to get on there. We also do have that promo code going on, NFL15. Gets you 15% off every single month for the life of your subscription. That is going to be ending, though, after the first week of NFL. Once we got NFL Thursday, we got Showdown monster prize pools. I believe a Millie Maker already up on DraftKings. We got the Sunday stuff as always. We got Monday Showdown. But after week 1 concludes, that promo code will be gone. So NFL 15 gets you 15% off every single month. Saber Sims also included. Those Sims are up for Saber Sim. Jordan did a show with AP talking some Saber Sim for NFL as well. So make sure to check that out. NFL 15 is that promo code. Hit that like button for us, please. Hit that big red subscribe button. 300 is the number. Should be very easy. Let's go game by game though. Los Angeles Dodgers, Miami Marlins, Michael Grove, Pablo Lopez on the mound. Got to go to you, Hoop. Dodgers aren't at home today. Guaranteed ninth inning at bat. Lopez he's all right. Dodgers have a decent implied total today, though. So what are your thoughts on them? I think they should be low owned.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to get much ownership out of the Dodgers today. Lower team total than we typically see at 4.5. The price tags are still pretty elevated. For me, after the trade deadline, the Dodgers have just become like a more difficult team to play for me personally, because all the pinch hit risk. And you see that with a lot of these top teams, after the trade deadline where they brought in, some specialists, like, they bring in Joey Gallo, and, there's just risk. If a lefty comes in, a lot of these guys at the bottom of the order are going to be, likely pinch hit for. So, I'd be looking at, if you want to punt, like Hanser Alberto is 2K flat. He's already in a righty matchup. He's going to play the entire game. Like Gallo, Bellinger, somewhat risky to me. But the next problem is the price tags, man. Like Turner 6.1, Freddie Freeman 5.5, Will Smith 5.3 should keep ownership, pretty low. I'm going to keep them in my player pool, but I'm not forcing them into lineups today, I guess is the point I'm trying to make. I will get some exposure. I am doing 150 today, so I will get some exposure because I think we're looking at a low-owned team, but not a situation where I'm forcing in, Dodgers players. And then on the Marlins side, a lot of cheap bats. And is Grove going to go in there and pitch 7 innings, strike out 12 guys? No. So I'd be fine playing some of these guys, keeping them in my player pool, not priorities by any means. But I'm fine playing some of these guys who would be the cheaper guys, probably like in the middle of the order. You get a full punt catcher and Stallings at 2K, Garrett Cooper's 2.3, Blede, or however you pronounce his name, 2.2. So fine playing some Marlins, not going to go overboard though.
Yeah.
Was that pronunciation right? Because that's how I was going to say it, dude. Blade. I'm the worst with that too.
Blade is what we're all going to say.
Blade? Yeah, I like that.
I mean, man, looking at this Marlins team, not very often you see like almost everybody 2K pretty much. And then you just got one guy in there, John Birdie, sitting at 5K. But man, the price is warranted. You click on that game log. I mean, the Marlins aren't on the main slate as much as almost every other team because they do usually have the 6:40 Eastern start time. So we don't really talk about Birdie too much, but man, he has been really good. So the price tag is warranted. AP, low on Dodgers for you. Any Marlins? Talk about this game.
Yeah, so like I have the Marlins pretty high as far as like a mini stack goes. I really like some of these power stacks that we're going to talk about, like 5-man Cardinals, 5-man Brewers, 5-man Blue Jays. And they're expensive. You need a cheap 3-man stack to work with it. Blade 2.2K. Brian Anderson, ES Power, 2.8K. Garrett Cooper, 2.3, going against a guy who's making his debut with the Dodgers, right? Am I wrong or right with that?
It's like his second start, but it was
his second start. Okay. Same difference, but we've seen how it's gone for these new guys. I mean, I am playing one. I probably play Michael Grove too, but in my non-Michael Grove builds, I'm definitely looking at a cheap Marlins stack here. Bad ballpark. One we just don't like to go to at all. I will say, I mean, lone Dodgers, I have them in consideration as a mini stack too. I'm mainly looking at like Max Muncy, Joey Gallo, and then, Trey Turner, just because he's going to be like 5% owned at 6.1K. I think it's a pretty contrarian way to go on this slate, but I'm far more interested in a 3-man cheap Miami Marlins stack.
Yep, makes some sense. You go to that bottom of the order. You could play, if you're playing Rodon and Burns, you're going to need a mini stack. If you do like stacking like all of us, you're going to need cheap minis, and you can.
That's the point. That's the best point. Yeah, like if you're playing Rodon and Burns, and you're going to stack the Blue Jays, like that's where the Marlins come in as a valuable a team to look at for sure.
Yep, and you get a cheap first baseman, cheap catcher, second base, third base. You get the outfield and stuff too, so they can fill certain positions in that stack, in secondary stack as well. Let's get to the next game on the slate. Again, that game was just on DraftKings. This next game is just on DraftKings, and then the 6 games are on FanDuel and DK as well. St. Louis Cardinals, Cincinnati Reds, Miles Mikolas and Chase Anderson on the mound. We're talking about some chalk for pitching. I thought it was Corbin Burns. Comes to bats on DraftKings, I think the Cardinals will be the chalk. I mean, you're guaranteed the 9th inning at bat. Good hitters park. Best hitting weather on the slate at 85 degrees in Cincy. Did you look at the weather quick, Hoop? Does it seem the game should be fine? Yeah,
I think we're good. There are some pop-up storms in the area. A lot of the big stuff I pulled up on the radar looks like it's just going to be south of Cincinnati. Chance for a delay, but I think that's fine here because we're not looking at pitchers. We're looking at hitters specifically on one side here.
Yeah, I mean, take it away. Talk about what you're interested in.
So, they're going to be very popular, the Cardinals, for, a few reasons. I mean, the matchup against Chase Anderson is good. The ballpark here, very hitter-friendly. And the price tags for these Cardinals are way too cheap. I mean, you got, Lars Nootbaar, $3K, Donovan, $3.2. Those guys are going to be very popular. Yes, Goldschmidt at 6.2 is expensive. Arenado at 5.6 is expensive. But when you can mix those guys in with dudes, $3K and below throughout this lineup, makes it a lot easier. Tyler O'Neill, let's see, he's 4.8K and he's on a nice little heater right now. A guy that you definitely want to play. Albert Pujols is 2.2K. Dickerson, 2.2K. Knizer, however you pronounce the catcher's name, 2K flat. The one that stands out to me, and I talked about it last time he was in this position, Tommy Edman, 4.1K, batting 9th. People don't like paying full price tags for guys batting 9th, but he's been hitting quite well. You look at 4 out of his last 6 games, double-digit fantasy points. So I like him in that 9 hole. It's an easy team to stack and get unique with because there's so many different ways you can stack this team. If you come in and you play 1 through 5, you're going to be like everyone else. I like going down to the bottom, playing the cheap catcher, Tommy Edman, Pujols over Goldschmidt in some spots, like a lot of different ways to stack up this Cardinals team. And then on the Red side, not a ton of interest. One guy that I do like is this Jake Fraley at 2.8K, very dynamic player. I'd get some exposure to him. Do I like McCullers? No. But do I like the Reds? Not really either. So, for the Reds, they might be similar to the Marlins, where if I need a cheap 3-man, I'll come here and play like Terry Friedel, Senzel, and full punt catcher Chucky Robinson. What a cool name, Chucky Robinson. I like that one. Not a ton of Reds exposure, but love the Cardinals. Easy to play them in a bunch of different ways.
Yeah, the thing with the Cardinals stacks is, so you either got to pick Pujols or Goldie or fade both of them. And that changes a lot of the Cardinals stack because, I don't know, maybe I think ownership will be pretty close on the both of them today because of the prices. If one of them goes out and dongs and the other one gets you a 0, half those Cardinal stacks are dead. So you do have to get the right one. Maybe you fade both and then you really get, I think that's the easiest way to get different is just play neither first baseman and fill out the rest there. So I do like that with the most popular team on the slate, the Cardinals, that you do get a little different and you only can play one first baseman, whereas on FanDuel you can play both. AP, talk about these Cardinals and then Reds or Marlins if you had to decide on a cheap secondary stack, if you're like double paying up or something, because they do offer the same salary relief.
Yeah, it's such a good question there because I was looking at the Reds and there are a few bats here that profile decently against Miles Mikolas, mainly looking at Fraley. Got the guys who talked about Fraley, Friedel, or Senzel, a little power there. And then maybe, Solano. Potentially. But I will say what I would want to do is if I'm like, I think the Cardinals are going to be popular. I think we can all agree on that. But how popular is it going to be to full stack this game up, running it back with 3 Reds? I think you got to be careful. Like what I would do is I want to play, like if you look at all the stud hitters, we had Nootbaar, absolute stud leading off. We want him in there. But everyone else, Paul Goldschmidt, first base, Arenado, third base, we want to make sure that we get those guys in there. And then it's, what do we do with the outfield? Do we go 2 Cardinals in the outfield, Nootbaar and Dickerson, who's also cheap, or do we pivot to some of these cheap reds? So a really interesting way to maybe tackle the slate is kind of a game stack here, taking advantage of one of the best parks on the slate. Weather should be fine, should be good for hitting. So I'm going to have interest mainly in the Cardinals side. Chase Anderson. I mean, this dude, I had to dig a little deep. He's made, I think, 16 starts in the minors year to date. Hasn't been good at all. I mean, this sets up to be a spot where the Cardinals should absolutely tee off on him. They did have a Sunday night baseball game last night. I don't think that's going to be that big of a deal here. I'm sure they'll be plenty fine, plenty rested for this game. So yeah, sign me up for the Cardinals. And then I do like a Reds mini here with Fraley, Friedel, and some of those guys, some of those cheap bets.
Yeah, I mean, Chase Anderson, he was a Brew Crew guy, so he's been around for quite some time. Definitely 2022, he's still he's pitching now. I mean, wish the Cardinals weren't the chalk, wish there were some other teams, but I mean, it's definitely a really good spot for the Cardinals. But ownership should follow. There's always ways to get different. We did talk about that a little bit. 6 games left on the slate. Again, those were the 2 games that are on DraftKings and not FanDuel. Do us a favor, hit that like button for us, please. Hit that big red subscribe button. Only takes 2 seconds. I see is it 9.9K subscribers right now? So man, that number has been climbing. 10K right around the corner. Let's hit it on this show. And then you do get alert, like the tennis show this morning. If you didn't know about it, sounds like a couple of people didn't know Crane was on the show. If you're subscribed, you get an alert there. You can pull it up right there on every single show for the live shows, NFL, MLB, all the shows that we do. So like button, subscribe button. We always do appreciate it. Next game on the slate, Chicago Cubs, Toronto Blue Jays, Javier Assad and Jose Berrios on the mound. Man, this Assad dude, he's not going to be going very long, I don't think, is he? I don't really know anything about him. He hasn't pitched this year. Blue Jays, they got a good implied total, though. AP, talk about this game and Assad. I'm going to look into him quick, but he's not going to be going very long, is he? It's more of a bullpen game.
I think he pitched once. I think he made one start, and he was pretty decent in it. But I think it was against the Cardinals, too. I think he went 4 innings. You can verify that, but I'm just looking at my notes from earlier. I think it's just a tough spot for him. Probably not a spot where he goes deep. He's going to be dealing with a ton of power here on the Blue Jays side. This is where I'm kind of talking about, like, my strategy on this slate is I think all of these teams in good spots, Cardinals, Blue Jays, Brewers, we're going to get to them. I think 5-man stacks from all, like one 5-man stack from one of these teams could absolutely ship the slate. The Blue Jays are definitely going to be included into that. I like all the power here. I like Hoops boy, Matt Chapman down there, 5.2K. Not a lot of people are going to play him batting 7th. So Blue Jays, very high on them. I'm not playing the Cubs tonight. I'm fully off of them.
Yeah, so he did make you were right. He did make the 1 start. He did pitch 4 innings. I mean, the Blue Jays at home, if they get to him, he won't be in there very long. But it's not just I think I was wrong. It's not just a flat out bullpen game. If he pitches well, I'd expect him to keep going. Talk about this game, though, for bets.
Yeah, I mean, another premier offense in a really good spot here. Team total of 5.5 here for the Blue Jays going against this Assad guy. Blue Jays are a team that we like to target when they're at home in a good matchup. That's exactly what they have here tonight, facing a dead team in the Cubs. I mean, just similar to the Cardinals. I mean, everything just lines up perfectly for the Blue Jays here tonight. And, who do you go to? Well, I mean, for me personally, everyone. Like, I know some people don't like playing Tapia, but I'm fine with Tapia at 2.5K. I mean, if he gets up there, a couple guys on base, 1 hit, gets the job done. Matt Chapman, I mean, AP kind of touched on him, 5.2K, batting 7th. I put him in the same category as like Tommy Edman tonight. People are just not going to want to go there with these big boy price tags, bottom of the order. Absolutely love him here in tournaments. I'm in on everyone top to bottom. You got 2 catchers, Alejandro Kirk at 5.1. You got Danny Jansen at 3.6. Both in play for me here. I don't really know what else to say. I mean, it's a team I'm playing top to bottom as frequently as I can. How does it stack up them versus the Cardinals? I don't know. I like both of them. So
I was just going to ask you that question.
Yeah. I mean, I like them both equally, but like AP said, the one thing you do, 5-man stack as frequent as possible with these guys. Get exposure. A couple of these teams tonight, there's more too that we'll get to in really good spots, are going off and going to put up a ton of runs. you want 5 guys in your lineups, not 4 or 3 on these big boy offenses. So give me the Blue Jays as often as possible. It's a really good spot. And yeah, I mean, to answer your question, or, the question that you didn't ask, but was coming, Cardinals or Blue Jays, I guess I'd probably side with the Cardinals just because they're on the road, guaranteed the 9th inning at bats. Probably easier to stack them, to be honest, when you look at some of these price tags for the Cardinals. So yeah, probably Cardinals over Blue Jays, but it's damn close.
Yeah, no, definitely 2 very elite spots for both of them. Let's get to the next game on the slate. Boston Red Sox, Minnesota Twins, Brian Bello and Dylan Bundy on the mound. 8.5 total, Minnesota. AP mentioned winds blowing out a little bit, so I'll go back to you in this one. Any Twins for you? You're playing Bello, so I assume no Twins for you, but then talk about the Red Sox.
Donkey. Dang it, I was the first one to do it.
I was waiting for it. You're usually good at that.
Yeah, so like, when have the Twins ever done it for us? Like they've been a
Garrett
complete
Cole, but they didn't do it for us. They did it against us.
Yeah, against us. There you go. So this lineup, like I don't know, it's pretty bad, like top to bottom. There's no Polanco, no Buxton. Like, I mean, man, I'm gonna try. Like, I think hopefully Bayo, hopefully he's low owned. He looked good against Toronto. Maybe it was one of those days where Toronto just sucked, but I respect that team as far as, top to bottom, as far as hitting goes. So if he found something, I think this is going to be a spot against the Twins where he could have a nice outing. I'm not going to play the Twins here. But if you want to stack against a young prospect who has the stuff, man, he looks like good. Like when you watch him throw his stuff, he can throw with high heat. But if he's off, which he's been off all season, outside of his last start, the Twins could absolutely get to him. Winds blowing out, obviously good hitting conditions there. I'm going to be under or completely off of the Twins. And then Boston, I mean, man, I haven't really been playing Boston that much. I probably don't think you guys have either. If you want to play on the fact that, the hitting conditions here are good, I think you could stack this game up. I'm going to keep an eye on ownership. Obviously, guys like Rafael Devers, I think are fine. And honestly, I think you should almost consider a guy like him just if you can somehow fit him in there, maybe stack up, maybe stack up one of these power teams and then try to find a way to get a guy who has double dong upside into your lineups. We saw how many 2 home run games yesterday. Manny had one, Seager had one. I forget who else, but Rafael Devers has that type of upside. So that's kind of how I'll play it. I'm going to be under on this game, though, to be honest. I want to prioritize some of these really elite spots that we're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, if you're 5-2-1ing and your one-off is Rafael Devers 5.8K, I mean, I don't think too many people are going to do that in tournaments, so I don't mind that at all. Gets you that double down, you're sitting sweet for sure. Who? Boston, Minnesota?
Yeah, I agree with the sentiment on the Twins, man. You just look at this lineup and it's not very appealing. Like who's gonna dominate here? Like, I don't know. Like I'm just not excited. Like, will I have some 3-man Twins? Yeah, but I'm not full stacking this team. I like Kepler, good price tag on Kepler. Nick Gordon's free at 2K. But I don't know, Carlos Correa, okay, Araz, okay. Again, just not excited about the Twins. And thinking back, when have they really beat us? And it hasn't happened all that often. Now they're probably going to score 15 tonight and just pound it for us. But we'll see. I will have 3-mans of the Twins. I do kind of like Boston though. Just looking at this lineup, the lineup looks much better than we've seen recently. Trevor Story in there. The price tags aren't all that bad. You're paying big boy price for Devers, but third base, it's not the greatest position. I mean, we have Arenado there, but I'm good with Devers. Frenchie Cordero at 2K. You got a full punt catcher. Christian Arroyo has been playing well. Second base eligible 2.5. I think that the Boston has a chance to be a difference maker on the slate if you go over the field. I just don't think they're going to be owned because of these other spots. Toronto's going to be more popular. St. Louis is going to be more popular. Milwaukee will be more popular. Phillies will be more popular. They're going to be pretty low owned, and I like this lineup on the road. Bundy, I just don't think is all that good. So like Boston, easy to get over the field on them. Twins I'll have a little bit of, but man, it's just not an exciting team.
I think you sold me on Boston there, Hoop. I like your comments there. I'm gonna have at least one Boston stack now. Just for
a low team, and I mean they got guys that
Trevor
can do
Story
damage
down there. I mean,
it looks way better with Story now that he
does.
came back. The lineup, but the problem is you only can play him or Christian Arroyo, and Arroyo's been swinging a hot stick at second too. But 2.3K difference. I mean, you can kind of let your lineup and your other stacks determine where you go at second base, kind of like the Pujols Goldie.
Yeah, but I'm in on this team a little bit. I think it makes some sense. They have to be low just because these other offenses.
Yeah, I think they will be. Wind's blowing out too. Guaranteed ninth inning at bat. I think you make a lot of good points there. Let's get to the next game on the slate. Pittsburgh Pirates, Milwaukee Brewers, Robert Stevenson, and Corbin Burns on the mound. I'm seeing Robert Stevenson. This has to be a bullpen game unless Pittsburgh changed up their starter. Talking about the Brewers getting some ownership. I mean, yeah, they went off yesterday. They have one of the highest implied totals on this slate, sitting at about 5. Lineup looks pretty solid to me. I'll go right back to you, Hoop. What you like in Milwaukee and Pittsburgh?
Yeah, I mean, easy to cross off the Pirates on the slate. I mean, we love Burns. Burns gonna be the highest known pitcher. You always talk about it on these shows. Like, if you want the ultimate leverage situation, go ahead and play Pittsburgh. No one's gonna be on them. I'm obviously not doing that. Brewers, yeah, I mean, seems like a very good spot. I mean, if you're facing a bullpen, for majority of the game, you want it to be the Pirates because they suck. Hunter Renfroe in there in the four hole kind of stands out to me. Obviously, Rowdy Tellez, I think, is one of the better plays on this slate. Colton Wong, Jace Peterson, again, a team you can play all the way top to bottom. And I do think they come in a little less than Cardinals, probably less than the Blue Jays. They're probably like the third highest known team on the slate. But a lot of good ways to get different. Jace Peterson, I know a Big T favorite. 3.3K, you can play him in the outfield, third base. I think he's the way to kind of differentiate your stacks a little bit. You got Narvaez. I think a lot of people probably punt off catcher. Some of these top stacks have cheap catchers in them. He's kind of in that middle tier at 3K. I'm good with him. Everyone here for me is in play. I don't know much about Garrett Mitchell, but he's a 2K full punt.
It's gonna be his first game with the crew. I mean, he's min price. I mean, you look at the game log.
He played yesterday. He got his first RBI. I think he had a 2-hit game.
Did he? Yeah.
I was watching it closely. That's the only reason why.
That's enough for me to say that I'm in on him. So
I don't think he was any good or anything, but
yeah, he got an RBI. 2 RBI hit yesterday. I'm good with it. Yeah, I mean, anyway, regardless, I'm playing everyone in this lineup. Really like them. Obviously, Tellez, Renfroe would be my 2 favorites.
Yep. It's people in chat. I will bring up. It is in the last game, but they're saying Franchi Cordero. 5 homers in his last 6 starts. Yeah, I just pulled up that.
I just saw that. That's the last name I clicked on after AP said he had some interest. He's 2K flat. Man. He is just crushing it. On fire right now.
Yeah, he's got an upside. And he's cheap.
Going back to the bottom. I like playing Franchi, Arroyo, and then a few of the other more expensive guys. I think it's an interesting way to attack that game, but. Yeah, the Brew Crew, I think fully in play. I mean, now knowing, a bullpen game, I always like those a little bit less just because, it's, a little bit more unpredictable. But the Pirates bullpen, obviously really bad there. The Brewers, obviously hitting it really good. Colton Wong, just an absolute beast right now. I think it was once they got to the pen also yesterday, Colton Wong blasted a home run. So, I mean, I can take him against anyone. They even brought in, I think so, they brought in a lefty and they crushed that lefty that came in and then they're kind of stuck. So there could be some pinch hit risk here, but, maybe not with the Brewers. I mean, Title, is that something you would be I know Jace Peterson played the whole game yesterday, Colton Wong, not worried about those guys. Maybe it was because they had a big lead too, but
I mean, it used to never have to be a concern, and then for a couple of weeks stretch when they brought in new guys over the deadline, it was a little more of a concern. But I can't pick out any certain guy. It probably would be Jace Peterson if anyone. But I mean, he's 3-3. He played all game yesterday. The lineup, if they hit, they get going. I don't think we see pinch hitting, so I'm not going to be crossing anyone off just because of that reason personally. But I don't know the exact answer.
Your boy Christian Yelich just absolutely in the zone right now too. Oh man, he hit a couple beauties yesterday. So Yeah, I think I'm going to go back to them. They were very tasty for us yesterday. Not worried about, a bullpen game here against the Pirates. So, yeah, sign me up for the Brewers, and there's zero chance I'm playing any Pirates.
Yeah, it's fine. It's nice. I mean, this offense needed Yelich to be the old Yelich. He's starting to swing a hot bat for sure, showing some pop. So that's good to see. Yeah, Brewers, I do agree. I think you said it, Hoop, though. Cardinals will definitely be higher owned. I think the Blue Jays will also be higher owned than the Brewers, too. But that's not saying the Brewers are going to be low owned by any means. Well, we got 3 games left on this slate. Let's see what the likes right now. 203 likes. Man, that's a little hurtful. 500 watching, 200 likes. Let's make a push. Let's try and get 300. I mean, I can't let Hoop do it yesterday. If we make a good push and you satisfy me, I might give them to you today on this Monday, especially after what Hoop did last week. So I want to give it to you. But I mean, if it's like 240, 250 or something, that just won't get it done. So hit that like button for us, please. Hit that big red subscribe button. We always do appreciate it. 3 games left. Frankie Montas, Jose Suarez, the Yankees taking on the Angels. We got a total of 8. I mean, man, these Angels, if you want leverage, Frankie Montas is definitely going to get some ownership there. So you can play the Pirates against Burns. You can play the Angels against Montas. I would definitely rather the Angels route, but man, these Yankees, that's the big talking point. I'll go back to you in this one, AP. What are your thoughts on them?
Yeah, I mean, right now, I always just keep Aaron Judge and some of the power guys here like available to as a one-off or as a 3-man stack. I'm not like full stack in the Yankees, though, especially, in this park. And then on the other side, I mentioned it, like I do have interest in some of the power here against Frankie Montas, Mike Trout, Shohei Ohtani. It's hard to have more interest outside of those 2 guys, though. So I could see myself like, rotating in some of these power guys. Maybe I start looking at like a double punt type build at pitcher to fit in all the power that's on the slate. Who knows? Obviously I haven't made any builds yet, but we'll definitely take a look to see how that looks. So overall, not like full stacking any of these teams. I just have interest in home run hunting with Judge, Trout, and Ohtani, basically.
I mean, that's a really interesting thought because, I mean, there are good bats for implied totals. If a team puts up 14 or 12 or something like that yesterday, and they're all expensive bats, you like Bello, you like the Dodgers guys. So that's really interesting that you say that. And Burns gets you 22, 23. You more than likely can survive that. So that's definitely interesting take that caught my ear. And I think it's interesting. Who? Yankees, Angels?
Yeah, I mean, I have some interest here in the Yankees side just because, I mean, I like them a little bit more against lefties. You got Stanton back in the lineup, Judge, Donaldson, Torres. Those are the guys I'm kind of looking at here today. Trevino at catcher, you can kind of put in there as Waldo Cabrera, super cheap. So some interest here in this team because basically, like I said, they're facing a lefty. You got Stanton back in there. So I'll be looking at like Judge, Stanton, Torres, Donaldson as my key guys when stacking the Yankees, and I will have some Yankees stacks. The Trout Ohtani thing is somewhat interesting, and if you're not on Montas, when he's off, it's typically in a way where her teams are putting up a lot. So yeah, I think that's interesting. I don't know if I will necessarily get there on the slate, but that's another one of those big leverage points. We know Montas is going to be very highly owned. Going to the power hitters for the Angels will be low owned option with a ton of upside. Like I said, not sure if I'm going to get there, but I can see it on the slate.
Yeah, I mean, I like when we always talk about like the biggest leverage on the slate, Pirates against Burns, stuff like that. Like I just never get to that myself. Someone against DeGrom and all that. We're talking about Frankie Montas, who, I mean, he can get blown up. We've seen it in the past. But this lineup looks so much better than this Angels lineup has most of the year with now Trout and Ohtani in there. And you'll get cheap bats at the bottom of the order. So, man, I think you can get there personally. And even 20 entry. I mean, you play 20 entry, you play 2 lineups with the Angels, you're going to be overweight on them compared to the field. So I think the Angels are a little interesting personally. 2 games left: Philadelphia Phillies, Arizona Diamondbacks, Rangers Suarez, Madison Bumgarner. AP, I'll go to you in this one. The Phillies have a decent implied total in this one. You're going to be picking on Bumgarner at all, and then any Diamondbacks?
Yeah, I definitely want to pick on Bumgarner here. He's been terrible. All the metrics look really bad. And Philly, a hot team right now. They've been especially good against lefties too. Hoskins, Schwarber. They got Bryce Harper back. Just completely elevates the lineup. Real Muto, he's been smashing. Castellanos, he had no, wait, was it Segura that had a home run last game? Do you guys know, against Pittsburgh?
I do not know.
I think you can play all of them though. Like I think top to bottom, this is like one of my favorite stacks on the slate. And
I just
really
checked. It was him. He did homer.
So like, I want your guys' opinion, since it's a West Coast game, is there any chance we get them a little bit lower owned compared to like, the Cardinals and the Blue Jays starting a little bit earlier there? We already got the Brewers lineup. Maybe we get the Phillies at a little bit lower ownership. I think they have
so.
Huge upside tonight on this slate. So sign me up for all of them. I think top to bottom, outside of maybe like Sosa or Vierling, I think is his name. I'm not going to play those guys. Everyone else though, 1 through 7, I'm on board with. And I'm not going to go to the Diamondbacks here. Ranger Suarez, not playing him, but I don't really want to pick on him on the slate.
I think you'll definitely see an ownership gap from the Cardinals and the Blue Jays and stuff to the Phillies. I mean, you look at it, it's a way better lineup with Bryce Harper back in it, but it also makes it way harder to stack. 6K Schwarber, 5K Hoskins, 5-6 Harper, 5-7 JT Realmuto, Bohm 4-4, Castellanos 4-3, Segura 4-2. Like, I mean, you aren't playing Rodon and Burns and stacking the Phillies. So yeah, I think that you do see an ownership gap. Their lineup is not out yet, unless it just came out. No, yeah, I don't see it out yet. So yeah, I think you do see a discount there. Guaranteed 9th inning at bat. What are your thoughts on these Phillies and any Diamondbacks?
A lot of interest in the Phillies. I mean, I love picking on Madison Bumgarner whenever the hell I can. The Phillies have a lineup that can definitely beat him tonight. I mean, you got guys, even the left-handed bats can hit lefty. Schwarber, Bryce Harper, obviously, Realmuto, Castellanos, Gene Segura, even Matt Vierling, my guy Edmundo Sosa, assuming all those guys are in the lineup. It's one of these lineups where there's enough cheap guys to make this work, to make the full stack work. And to AP's point, the longer we go here without this lineup being out, the lower owned it's going to end up being. So I have a lot of interest in the Phillies. And then on the Diamondback side, I don't know, man. Their team they're irritating to stack. So I'll be fading the Diamondbacks tonight.
Hey, Tata, real quick. So I just looked it up. Bayo and Grove, they leave you over 5K left per position. So you can load up on all the just for you, Title. You gave me the idea. I'm gonna run one of those for sure.
I mean, like I said, if Burns and Rodon, they don't break this slate. Like if it was a 14 gamer, like I don't think that's the
hard part, because I'm with I do think Burns could put like up a 35 piece, 40 piece, something like that tonight. And if he does that, it's going to be very difficult to win with unless you get multiple double dongs from these power guys. I mean, that's probably the only way to get it done.
But yeah, I mean, even at 26 you can survive. I mean, the Phillies put up 12 runs today. They're expensive. Like, they're going to be tougher to stack, and you already like Bello, you already like Grove, so they get you 20 and 16 or something around there. I mean, I definitely think it's an interesting strategy that people will not do. And at the end of the day, if I saw that on the winner later, I would not be completely shocked. I think we do see some offenses put up some runs. So I do like it for sure. We got one game left on the slate. I do not think it's going to take very long to talk about it. Then we're going to go stacks. We got 515 watching AP. We got 251 likes. Throwing it to you. Set the number. One game left. Won't take long. We got stacks. I'll read a little stuff. What number do you want? AP.
You threw me off. What do we had? I wasn't listening.
515 watching, 250 likes. Set a number.
Yeah, I mean, we could get to what, 300, right?
300. All right.
We'll see.
Heard? Yeah. 300 is the number. I mean, we should get 300. It shouldn't be very hard. This last game won't take long. I'll try and stall a little bit for you guys, but like button, subscribe button. We appreciate it. San Diego Padres, San Francisco Giants, Mike Clevenger, Carlos Rodon on the mound. We have a 7 total. It's 60 degrees in San Fran. But AP, you were talking about Clevenger and can maybe pick out some bats against him. You're going to be on any San Fran today? And I assume no Padres, but talk about this game.
Yeah, I butchered that name. Chat's just ripping me up. Hey,
Castellanos. Yeah, I was laughing
you're
too.
flipping back and forth, seeing all these different things. You see like a La Stella and stuff
you
like that. You
pulled a Snyder on us.
Yeah, I know.
We all do it.
Deal with it. So the thing about so I think Manny Machado is firmly in play, and you're going to get him what at like 3%. No, I mean, what's he going to be? Title?
Yeah,
Like,
I mean,
there's zero chance he's over
exactly.
5. I think
100%.
I think if you are fading Rodon, you only target these guys with big upside. Maybe a 3-man stack at most. Outside of that, like we've seen Rodon give up a couple games where he gives up 2 home runs. Outside of that, he's been so good on the season. Not someone we really want to attack, but I do think the Padres have some upside here. Bad ballpark. So look at the guys that have power. If you do, Will Myers hit really well when he was down in Kansas City, Kauffman Stadium. So I don't love the Padres, obviously ranked really, way down. I think if you're 115, I think it makes sense to include some mini stacks there. And then I talked about Clevenger, just hasn't looked good, has not been able to miss bats, is getting no whiffs at all right now. I think a mini Giants stack is definitely in play too. And, if the rest of your team goes off and then you're sitting on the Giants, who knows? Maybe guys like Jock Peterson, Wilmer Flores get you to the promised land there. The problem, and we talk about it all the time, is the pitch hit risk with the Giants. So if you can get through that, get around that, obviously that's like the one thing that could negate things in your lineup. But I do think a mini Giants stack is a little bit interesting here against Clevenger.
Obviously, we don't have the lineup out yet, but would it be Wilmer and Jock that would be your favorites, or who would you pick out, AP, assuming that the projected lineup is correct?
Yeah, I was looking at Wade, Flores, and Jock. The problem is that's 2 outfielders, and man, outfield is absolutely stacked. And so it's an opportunity cost question. It's do we really want to, pick those 2 guys in our lineup when we have so many others that are just very elite spots on the slate. So I don't love the Giants at all. I just think if you're multi-entering, I would include them as a possibility to target as a 3-man stack.
Yep, definitely makes sense. 7 total, 60 degrees. Are you just crossing off this night game, or do you have some interest in either of these teams?
I just want to give a quick update. It does look like that situation in Cincinnati is worsened a little bit. It looks like there's just some buildup heading that way. Late start, probably likely. So that's something to monitor up to lock. We only have an hour. What this game starts in, basically an hour. But I think there is actually some more risk now to that game. So it's something we need to monitor.
Cool. Glad you brought that up. We'll have the up to lock.
Oh, is there if there's risk, then I'm just like crossing that game off.
Yeah, I mean, you pull up the radar. I mean, the system, it's like building. I'm definitely not a meteorologist, but it is not. It is worsened, I'd say, for sure. In terms of this last game, I mean, low total 7. I mean, as much as I don't like Clevenger, I don't like taking the Giants bats. I'm on Rodon quite a bit here. So this game I'm just going to be fading this one.
Cool.
Oh, I also, maybe you're going to bring it up, Title, but we got
the Pirates pitching.
Yeah, Bryce Wilson. Yeah. There we go. Now full stack is in play for me.
Yeah,
Bryce Wilson's terrible.
That's tasty.
That was the next thing I was going to bring up, and I like it even more for sure. So I was going to go to both
boy Rowdy. Your boy
Rowdy's going to hit 1 or 2. Yeah, 1 or 2 bombs for Rowdy for sure. Yep.
Yeah, no, I was just going to bring that up. I like it. Hey, that leads us right into our favorite stacks. That was all 8 games on this slate. 300 is the number. Yeah, AP said it. We should easily get it with the likes. I'll look back, and I assume we will get it. Hopefully, get you the plays of the day. Top stacks though, AP. I'll go right to you. Top 3.
Yeah, so top 3 for me. Cardinals, easy. I mean, it's going to be a bunch of chalk, but Cardinals, Brewers, and Phillies.
I like it. And yes, that is assuming the Cardinals do play. The Up to Lock show will be talking about it. DC will be on there. We'll be in Discord as well. There are plenty of pivots if it's not, but we're assuming that game does play, even though it did get worse. Top 3?
Yeah, I mean, it could lower ownership too, the talk of bad weather there. So top 3, yeah, I mean, the Cardinals are in just such a good spot, just so tough to avoid that. I'm going to go my Boston team. I have a feeling about Boston tonight. I really like where they're at tonight on the slate. And then, Milwaukee. I definitely like the Blue Jays too, but they are a little more difficult to stack. So, I'll go Milwaukee 3.
I like it. That is all 8 games on this slate. Again, we do have that promo code going right now. NFL 15 gets you 15% off every single month for the life of your subscription. once football season, once week one's done, I don't know the next time we're going to be running a promo. It's not up to me, but we don't do promos like this very often. SaberSim is also included. SaberSim is very good when it comes to all these sports. Very good optimizer. They have ownership on their projections. We have our own projections on there as well. So NFL 15 gets you 15% off every single month for the life of your subscription. Let's check this like button. 309. You love to see it. We appreciate all you hitting that like button, hitting that subscribe button. 10K should be right around the corner as well. So let's go. Let's go talk our favorite plays of the day. AP, I'll start with you. Gentleman's call of the day. Give us a winner.
Yeah, so let's go with let's go Jace Peterson, 3.3K. He was so, I think yesterday, no, he's got 3 starts in, but yesterday was his first full start, 4 at-bats. Outside of that, I think he was rehabbing a little bit, but the swing looks good. He made contact, got 2 hits yesterday. I think he continues on. I think he gets it done, multi-hit game, maybe a bomb, who knows? He has plenty of power, but I like him today. Jace Peterson, third base there or the outfield. I don't think a lot of people are going to play him either.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I got nervous for a second. I threw it to you, and I'm like, man, because I had someone in mind. I was like, don't take him, but it goes perfect with my play. The SO play of the day, going to the Brew Crew as well. AP in the 7 hole. I'll jump to the 5 hole with Colton Wong, second base eligible. He's cheap as well. I mean, he's swinging a hot stick as of late too. Back-to-back home runs, back-to-back games. Man, I like these crew. I definitely like it even more against Bryce Wilson as well. So Colton Wong is the SO play of the day. Ooh, Mom's Basement play of the day. What you got?
Yeah, just one more update there. So they've already announced a late start, which is kind of concerning, I'd say, because hasn't started raining there based on like the radar and everything. Just basic weather stuff. Looking at weather.com, it's going to rain through 8. So you're looking at what does that put us? Probably like at least a 2-hour delay. But the fact that they've already delayed it, I think I'm even more concerned about that one. So something to keep note of moving forward. And we got the early start here, so now we're 50 minutes before lock. So situation to monitor. But the rich parents play of the day, back to business here, is going to be Trevor Story, 4.8K for the Red Sox. I have a feeling about the Red Sox here tonight. I think they get the job done for us. So Trevor Story, rich parents play of the day.
Love it. Trevor Story, Jace Peterson, Colton Wong, the 3 plays of the day. As Hoop just mentioned, earlier lock today, so do not forget it. 6:40 Eastern on DraftKings, the 8 games. FanDuel, you don't have to worry. If you just play on FanDuel, they do not have the Cardinals game on the slate. So you don't have to worry about the weather there. 7:07 Eastern lock time there. It's a fun show. I think Corbin Burns is the chalk at pitching. I thought Cardinals were the chalk at hitting, but that could change with this weather now. So make sure you look at all the content. Stay in Discord for the weather. The Up to Lock show, DC and them will be talking about it as well, which will be coming up very shortly. It's a fun show. Hope everybody has a great Monday night. We'll be back tomorrow as always. Like button, subscribe button on the way out. We always do appreciate it. NFL 15 is the promo code, 15% off. That'll do it though. RPS logo is up top tonight. Cannot wait to see it. For Hoop, AP, Simon Behind the Sticks, I'm Titletown. Good luck, everybody.